Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Ag Forecast brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, your premier platform for real-time global insights. Well, here's a quick look at the Jetstream Winds today, and when we see a pattern setting up just like this, we know that things are going to be quite volatile in the near term. And here's the reason why. As we watch this Jetstream flow transition from today on Monday the 25th into what things are going to look like on the 26th, there's some very interesting flow pattern here that's quite important for many of us across the United States. And this is specifically what I'm talking about. The Pacific jet stream has broken into two pieces here out in the Pacific, but both are quite strong and they build into this trough feature sitting just off the west coast. And as the winds kind of curve like this into that trough, we're going to be bringing in some very good upper level support for the development of a powerful low pressure system that even has the potential for producing hurricane force winds just off the northwest coast. We see a very similar feature right in through here, and you can see the curve I just drew met with some very, very strong winds that are coming out of the southwest. And what I want you to notice is that whenever we see this, we can kind of divide our trough up with that black line. We get strong upper level divergence where I put the D in that area. Now, what's upper level divergence? That's where air is evacuating aloft. Combining that with the fact that the winds in here are very strong, we can take our jet streak, which I just circled, divide it up into 4 quadrants, and it also produces in that left exit quadrant of the jet streak, strong upper level divergence. What does all of this mean? Well, in each of those locations I designated as having strong upper level divergence here, and the one that you see over here, we will be producing very strong low pressure systems. So here's a look at your wind speeds at the surface tomorrow, Tuesday. One powerful low just racing down here into parts of Oregon and California very slowly over the coming days, and a much quicker moving low in the midsection of the United States that's going to be heading on off to the Great Lakes states. And the wind speeds around this one are quite powerful, and it's fed on a lot of Gulf moisture. So we better talk about what kind of weather threats we have out of this as we move into this very busy week, not only for ag, but also for travel. So take a look at this. This is our all hazards weather map very early in the morning this morning. In fact, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I watched the National Weather Service update this map 5 times. So they're very busy in trying to understand this as well. Starting out west, with that low sinking toward California and Oregon, we have hurricane force winds just off the coast, winter storm warnings at higher elevation here, a wind advisory before the precipitation gets to the Central Valley, which will increase fire threat today only on Monday. But then with all the precipitation coming in with this one, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall and some very heavy snows in the mountains. System number 2, the one that's sitting in the midsection of the United States, emerges out of the Rocky Mountains later on today to its southern side. Very, very strong winds. Look down here around the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. High wind warnings. We will see gusts down there approaching 60 miles an hour in some locations. What the Weather Service has been constantly upgrading is the size of the winter storm warning in parts of northern Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and South Dakota, where we could be seeing over a foot of snow in some locations. And I do anticipate snowfall amounts as we get into this area to range anywhere between 3 and 6 inches on the lower end of things as this storm system moves on off toward basically the UP of Michigan. Now, what we can't see is all the heavy rain that will be in this corridor out to the south side of this. So we're going to take a look at that next. So here we go. Early in the morning this morning, we had one system that exited here off the northeast, system number 2 in this case. Now, this little clipper moving here through parts of North Dakota, northern Minnesota, it's just bringing in some light snow later on today. But we're starting to see now the bigger system emerge here in Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado. And watch this one come right out here onto the plains by 7 p.m. this evening. You can see it here. This is now 11, early morning, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Now, at this point, heavy snow will be spreading through parts of Wyoming, Nebraska, and the northern half here of Colorado. And as this system emerges into the central plains, we can now start to see it drawing on the moisture, bringing up the precipitation amounts out ahead of it here. Now, the snowfall you can see spreading through South Dakota by 1 o'clock on Tuesday, spreading South Dakota, Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, and still snowing here in Colorado. And this system emerges and really starts to crank in the midsection of the United States. Now, where are we in time? This is 7 p.m. on Tuesday. At the time that this system is now sitting over Kansas with a broad shield of precipitation surrounding it, our much bigger system, producing those incredibly strong winds, is now over parts of Oregon and northern California. Now watch both systems. One system's going to dive south, the other's going to pull north, and as they do so, we're going to watch for where that snow comes in and where those strong winds will be with this system and potentially stormy conditions here on the south side of this front. This is 11 p.m. on Tuesday evening. Very heavy snowfall, northern Wisconsin, Minnesota, then wrapping through parts of Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota. And look at how tightly spaced these isobars are. Very strong winds with this one. This system coming into coastal Oregon and California is going to be dumping a lot of snow, better than 3 feet in parts of the Sierra Nevada. I'll show you that in a few moments. And our system let's just take you all the way to Saturday morning. Here you go. Saturday morning, the low is over parts of south central Wisconsin. Heavy rainfall moving through parts. This is going to be a cold, but heavy rainfall moving through parts of Michigan. And you can see the line of showers and storms extending all the way into the Gulf Coast. Here is system number 2. This is going to be the one that eventually plagues the mid section of the country for next weekend. But before we get there, let's keep going with this idea on how much snow we're going to be getting here. So here's a broad view of how much snow we're anticipating. Now this only takes us out into the 20th, the evening of the 27th. Okay, so this is basically Wednesday evening. Let's zoom in on a few regions. This is looking at the Pacific Northwest. Look at the Cascade Mountains in Oregon here, potentially at the higher peaks picking up as much as 30 inches. As we slide into California, snow elevations in the northern part of California will be 1,000 to 2,000 feet. And we can see that we have the potential right here at the higher elevations of the Sierra Nevada for picking up possibly 30 to 40 inches of snow. Farther south, the snow line moves up over 3,000 feet, but we could even be bringing some snow into like the San Gabriel Mountains down here in LA. Remember, LA, you're out for another flood watch because you had a lot of rain about a week ago and even more coming in with this next system. In the Midwest and in the Central Plains, getting over to the High Plains into Colorado here, potential exists for 12 to 15 inches of snow in the northern part of Colorado, getting into southeastern Wyoming. And then generally in this area, we're going to be seeing a 3 to 6 inch snowfall event with the potential in a narrow corridor in here of getting above that amount. Getting into Minnesota and Wisconsin, we can see those snowfall amounts possibly approaching the 7 to 10 inch range. Now again, these data are from the National Digital Forecast Database. So this is basically directly from NOAA and the National Weather Service here. And I think they've done a very good job at pinning this one down. All right. Now this is just the first system. And you can see, look at all the heavy rainfall we're anticipating in Michigan, sneaking through Illinois and Indiana, coming down into the mid-south here with potentially picking up better than an inch in parts of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, and southern Indiana. So that's the rainfall out ahead of this system. Okay. What about day 4 through 10? Now, what I'm watching at this point is another large low pressure system after system number 1. So this is valid November the 27th all the way out to December the 5th. We've got to be watching for another big low emerging here. And our ensemble models are in lockstep. They are definitely in agreement over the position and strength of this next system. So let's dig in and figure out when that one gets here. Take a look at the upper level support for it. I am amazed at how well our GFS ensemble and our European ensemble are basically showing the exact same pattern through the next 10 days. System number 1, moving here through the Great Lakes states, we've talked about it. Deep trough builds into California here. That is the big system number 2. And watch as we keep going forward. Now we will see as this next big low pressure system emerges out of the Rocky Mountains. I'm talking about Friday morning, getting into the day on Friday. Look at all the warm air that comes under this ridge. But remember, it's out of a trough and into the ridge right here where we have our best upper level support, and both models have it pinned down in the same location. So this means this weekend has a massive system that will emerge by Saturday. Look at the tilt on this. This is going to be a powerful low emerging in the Central Plains here, moving toward the Great Lakes states. And our models, I'm just blown away, but I'm all the way out into Saturday night, midnight, getting into Sunday morning. We are almost in perfect agreement. I mean, just look at the two models here. This is phenomenal on the position and strength of these next few systems. And what do we notice? By the time we get out into about the 5th of December, broader trough over the east. We'll take a look at what that means in temperatures in a few moments. But we still have a low sitting here off of California, which is going to keep things unsettled and wet for California. And even out here, this is now December the 7th, we can see that the models are picking up on troughs on the coasts and a ridge trying to build in the midsection of the country, which will help to kind of, I don't want to say it this way, but relax the pattern. But remember, when you come out of a trough into a ridge like this still stays very active in here. All right, let's see how things look in terms of operational model runs here. We've talked in detail up to this point. This is Tuesday night. Models did an excellent job at the end of the week picking up on the path of this low, going toward Wisconsin, broad shield of heavy rain out ahead of this, maybe some strong to severe storms down here in the lower Mississippi River Valley. But look at the snow on the backside. And you can see the spacing of those isobars. This is going to be a very, very windy system. Okay, that system moves toward the northeast. See it there? Now this is, let's just get you right to Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Central Time. System number 1 sitting off the northeast. Snow in the interior, very, very windy conditions. High pressure in a control in the midsection of the country, but we're watching this powerful low emerge out of the Four Corner states. So Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, Thursday midnight into Friday, I should say Friday midnight, early in the morning. Now, as this system emerges Friday afternoon, it is fed on an abundant amount of Gulf moisture, very deep low pressure system, very, very strong winds through the midsection of the country here. And as it develops and goes toward basically central South Dakota, to its south, potential for strong to severe storms, broad shield of very wet conditions Saturday midday, and on the backside of this, blizzard-like conditions. Heavy snows, very tight pressure gradient, very strong winds, and that system will be around Sunday morning. Big dry slot builds in the backside, heavy precip moves out ahead of it, and the snow still falls in the northern plains on strong winds through Sunday evening. Now, just to let this keep going, this is now Monday, getting into Tuesday of the following week, so this is all the way out here to December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Got our next system coming to California. All right, so how confident are we in this weekend storm system? Very confident. At this point, our ensemble members are putting together a tight cluster of lows right in through this area. And remember, this is a big precipitation event out ahead of this, very heavy rain and potential for some strong storms here. And then on the back side over here, heavy snow. Let's actually take a look at what we're anticipating for snow. Now, this is only looking at the 72-hour time period ending on Sunday evening. So we're looking only at this next weekend's storm system. And you can see that the European ensemble is putting down the potential here for picking up better than 6 to maybe over 8 inches of snowfall, locally much heavier amounts here. When you combine that with the strong winds, this is going to be a nasty storm system for this upcoming weekend. Travel problems in the north central plains, in addition to all the ag problems this will be bringing. So to kind of put a finish to this is looking at the next 10 days at the probability of picking up 6 inches of snowfall. And you can see the heavier snowfall swath starting in the west, racing here toward the northeast, and where that corridor is, where the temperature will be cold enough and the snowflakes will be flying during one of the busiest travel weeks that we have throughout the year. So be careful with these next 2 systems moving across the United States. Do things finally calm down as we get fully into week 2? So this ends here on December the 8th, the evening of December the 8th. It appears that they do, but California, both ensemble models appears to stay wet, although you can see maybe drier conditions in this section of the country getting out here into week 2. What about temperatures? Well, let me just show you how the pattern evolves here. With the first big low, remember this is the one coming through Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. Look at the warm air out ahead of this. Now this is basically Wednesday at midnight, so this isn't going to be a nice day on Wednesday. This is just a big push at warmer air at the wrong time. It's midnight. And you'll see that by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, the front blasts through, the temperatures are already starting to drop very quickly on Wednesday afternoon, getting you into Wednesday evening. And early Thursday morning, waking up here on Thanksgiving, cold out west. Cold stretching from Montana all the way here into the Mid-South. And let's just see how system number 2 changes things up. So this is Thursday afternoon. We'll be seeing temperatures in the central plains here that are 10 to 15 degrees cooler than average, but watch that same area. Because when I get you into Friday morning, look at the turnover here. Warmth starts to build right back in out ahead of that big system number 2 there. And that one's the one that curls up, giving us those blizzard conditions in the north central plains. So we are on a roller coaster ride for temperatures through the next 10 days. And if I just take you out beyond 10 days, this is what the 11 to 15 day temperature pattern looks like from the GFS left and the European right. So very, very active conditions here with a highly amplified jet stream pattern in the near term. Okay, if we look toward the month of December, what are we watching? First things I'm paying attention to are actually happening tucked away very close to the North Pole. One, Siberian highs coming off this anomalously high pattern going back over toward normal. The Aleutian low is kind of oscillating up and down simply because of the highly active jet stream pattern. So what we need to do is to see how things are going to be changing here across the northern hemisphere. We need to pay close attention to the strength and position of the polar stratospheric vortex, because there are some indications with the building heights you see right in through here that we could be disturbing the speed of the polar vortex, allowing it to slow down. If it slows down, cold air will spill across some part of the northern hemisphere as we get into the middle of the month of December. Got a lot of uncertainty, though, with exactly how this is going to unfold. Elsewhere around the world, post-tropical storm Sebastian coming here out of the North Atlantic. By the time we get into the midday on Tuesday, will be a powerful low slamming into the British Isles. It will then slowly move here across the northern half of Europe, bringing in quite a bit of heavy rain and some very, very strong winds. While all that's going on, Australia is still dealing with major, major drought. You can see the fires early this morning. This was a snapshot early this morning, all the way down here on the southern side of the island. And then you can see them also still here under the cloud cover. I'll see all the smoke here in parts of New South Wales and southern Queensland. Does Australia stand a chance at getting rid of this? In the near term, no. Our strong Indian Ocean dipole, where we're getting great upper level support for rising motion here, that's hitting the eastern side of Africa. Where you see these warm colors right into this area in the forecast, that's sinking motion over Indonesia and Australia. So that's no good for the continuation of their drought. But do notice over South America, we are seeing some better upper level support for some rising motion and potentially more rainfall. Now to show you the zoomed out version of what's going on, very dry here. But notice the momentum transport out of the tropics in these three kind of regions here over the coming 15 days as to looking where we're transporting that moisture away from the tropics. But staying in the tropics to finish this one up, I want to take you to South America. This is from the GFS ensemble on the left, European ensemble on the right. Both models have honed in on Paraguay, parts of Paraná, and Mato Grosso do Sul. I'm talking about this region right in through here as having the greatest potential for having above average rainfall in the coming days. And just a quick note on Mato Grosso do Sul. This is the area that we've seen kind of, I think, our greatest delay in planting in our most productive areas of South America. So we're expecting quite a bit of heavy rainfall there. But overall, we've seen lackluster precipitation so far this year across South America, and a big difference from what we saw a year ago, especially in Brazil. So this is just looking at the next 15 days here. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Very busy forecast. Please be careful if you're traveling almost everywhere across the United States this week with all of these powerful low pressure systems moving. We'll talk to you each day, give you an update, keep you informed about what the major weather hazards are. And I hope you do have safe travels and a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.